Now then, and welcome back to another episode of Stoneblock 2 on the NemGo server. So, in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look around what I've done over the last few days, and also getting on with lots and lots of the applied energistics quests and the like. Now, I have already completed a couple of things. You can see this in the inscriber here. I had a few problems with my audio in the last episode, and I had to scrap some of the footage. I still have the footage, so we'll go through that in a minute. But things that I've done, I have removed I've removed some stone and started working on a new chamber. Yes, this chamber below here should be the vault, where I store all the stuff that I shouldn't really have yet. So any rewards that I've been getting that I'm not going to use, I've put in there. Any rewards and bits and pieces that I can't craft myself at the minute, and I've put them in there. Any rewards that I've got from loot bags and things that are okay for when we start the chickens, and bits and pieces that I've picked up along the way that I should be able to craft soon, I've put in there. And other bits and pieces that I really should not get yet, like a compressed nether star block. And then all the bits and pieces that I just haven't found a way of getting yet, like the chicken and the pork and all that should be fairly easy soon. I should be able to get all that fairly soon. But I've put it all in here with a little enchanting setup just to set things aside so that they're ready. Like this nice little room. Yeah. I like that I've got a little false door. It's a bit of a giveaway though, that little bit of there. But that does help me remember which orientation I am. So I've now got an area down here, which, as you might be able to see over the top here, has got multiple floors with lots and lots of elevator blocks, just very simple wool and ender. And I've started laying out some water mills for extra power. So I've got 160 GP on the network at the minute, and these are generating 16 apiece with the layout that I've done. You can't see it through this because I can't jump over the glass, but down here we have lava. I moved all the lava down here because these crucibles were giving me really large amounts of FPS lag. And with so many of them in that room, I was getting it every time I was moving around anywhere, FPS lag. So we used the heating element underneath and this, which is a 60 times rate of producing lava. And I built some open block tanks, funnel it all into there. Well, this is easy enough to make at the stage I'm at, apart from the blaze rods. The blaze rods need compressing blaze powder from the other thing. Compressing blaze powder from the sieving process into blaze rods, and you can make these. So I've now got myself a tank down here and a tank up there gaining lava from this little setup. And it's so far away from me that I don't feel any of the FPS lag until I'm down here. Well, multiples. Let's get back up here and across. Can I get up? Can I get up? Can I get up? On this level, yes, here we go, you can see from here. On this level, we've got space underneath the water level to put some of those lava generators to good use. Now, contrary to popular belief and some of the comments I had, these lava generators only generate from one bucket of lava, or one source of lava. They only generate 2 GP. There is no way of getting more GP by surrounding them in lava. On all sides. That's an older version, I believe. Now these are like a tier 1, 2 GP per lava source, and you only can warrant 1 lava source. So what I've done is I've put 1 lava source and then 4 lava mills around it to make sure that they're maximising the output from those things. Although with the water mills, I don't really need these anymore. I just thought it would look cool down here. So I made myself a little area inside the tank, as it were, where I've got lava and lava mills. And then this leads all the way up to that area with the secret door. So I've got a maintenance hatch in case, for whatever reason, the elevator blocks stop working. We've had it in previous packs, like long time ago, where the elevator blocks could be changed to require XP. So when you run out of experience, you couldn't use the elevator blocks. So I've put stuff like this in before just to make sure that I got a maintenance hatch. Also, I needed the maintenance hatch to put all of these floors in the first place, which was good. And now, down here, we don't have all of that FPS lag anymore. We don't have all of the crucibles. We now just have a simple array of the furnaces, and they all have 4 upgrades each for speed, and the ender tank on the other end from the downstairs, bringing the lava up and feeding them all nicely, which keeps this bank of energy cubes all full up, and they're set to output to the side. Or this one, for instance, would be input from above, output to the side, input from above, output to the side, input from above, output to the side, and then off it goes to either supply power to the workshop or supply power to the factory. And this side, supply power to the workshop. Yeah. Oh, I'm missing one block. I've got to put that back. I'll remember that. Don't worry. But for today, I want to go back over a few bits and pieces that we've been doing. So, I started out the other day by setting up the sieves to sieve soul sand to get loads of nether quartz, because I hadn't really got a reliable way of getting nether quartz. So there's lots of diamond meshes getting nether quartz and some gas tiers. But the majority of the time, I'm after all the quartz so that I can do the next stage of applied energistics. From the sieving area, taking a bit of sky stone and sticking it into the stone buckets or the stone barrels allows us to make sky stone. Now, I have since automated this. It is simply putting the sky stone in the barrel of lava and receiving sky stone blocks back. Also, using the sieved goods, we've got lots of charged Certis quartz that I've grabbed. This is the sort of quartz that sparkles a little bit when it drops on the floor, the charged one. But taking the charged quartz, the nether quartz, and the redstone and throwing them into a puddle, it's a little bit problematic with the blocks automatically picking up and all that, floating on the surface. But eventually, they do combine into the Fluix crystals. And then those Fluix crystals are very important throughout applied energistics. So with the Fluix crystals in place, we can make the inscriber, because that's what that one last little bit is. We made the sticky pistons in the last episode, and that unlocked the very first of the quests to open up the whole tree of quests. What do we get? We get some octaic capacitors. Next up, onto the inscriber presses. And for that we needed blocks of invar and an induction smelter. The induction smelter has a little locked area that we've got to get rid of first. As I found out for the first time I tried, you got a little button there to click out. And then you put the invar into one slot with the silicon, and you end up with a silicon press. Certis quartz gives you the inscriber calculation press. Gold gives you the inscriber logic press. And diamonds give you the inscriber engineering press. And then we get to claim all those rewards, which was very, very, very useful things indeed. 4 upgrades for my lava gen, some lovely epic bacon, and a compressed nether star block. Yep, we've just seen that. And another massive drum. Yep. So immediately I decided to check to see whether the compressed nether star could be turned into nether stars. And yes, it could. Oh my days. If only. If only. But no, I will wait. It will stay in the vault until I've killed a wither boss. And so now you're kind of back up to date. The next quest on was the They Grow Up Fast Crystal Growth Accelerator, which I received a random reward of another pair of them gloves that help you climbing. But very soon we need to seed farm and CD-ROM and get into the actual AE system this episode. So, first of all, let's discuss this thing. This is possibly one of the most annoying features of applied energistics, and it is the making of these seeds. These Fluix seeds in the first place. Now, we made the Fluix crystals easy enough. You throw a load of stuff in a puddle, and it combines. Super combine! And becomes Fluix crystals. But to make these pure Fluix crystals, you've got to grow them. And that requires seeds. So you grind these down in a pulverizer, and then you make these little seeds from pulverized dust and sand to make the seeds. Now, these seeds are really, really slow, right? So you're supposed to put them in a puddle of water. So there's a puddle of water over here in the kitchen, or what will be the kitchen. Kitchen here, bedroom there, yeah. Then they sit in the water, and they do not despawn in there, right? And I left them. I thought, I'm on a server. I can just sit back, go and do something else, come back, and they will be done, because they don't despawn. It says they don't despawn. It says right there, this item won't despawn. 0.0%. That's after a minute or two in there. 5 hours later, they got to 50%. 5 hours. 5 hours on a server. Constantly sitting there. 5 hours. We ain't got 5 hours. So these things, crystal growth accelerators, they need to be created and crafted, and that's not too difficult. Not too difficult. It requires some iron, some of this quartz glass, and some of these fluix blocks. Fluix blocks, easy. Just 4 of those crystals which we got to do that. Good. That's okay. The quartz glass was easy enough. Some powder and some glass. Yeah, easy enough again to sort out. So, didn't take long to make them and get the reward for it, but then it was the rigging side of things to make them actually work. They need to have an applied energistics cable going into the base of them, so that they can then help the area in between. So I've got crystal going in there, crystal going in there, yeah, so that's all connected up with those 3 to help those seeds grow faster. And look how fast they grow now. Let's put one in there. It grows fairly quickly. Let's see, that was just a fairly simple amount of time, wasn't it? 2%. 2% faster. So it's quite quick to grow them in there, right? And I've grown a few in record time because they grow fairly swiftly. The thing that I needed, though, was a power supply. I needed an AE power to power them because they take AE power. So I need to get an AE energy cell. And in order for the AE energy cell to accept power, I needed to get an AE energy acceptor. And in order to get the energy acceptor to accept energy, it needed to accept energy from an energy cell, which then I had to rewire the whole area to get energy over here. But I do plan on filling this back wall over here, behind the AE system, with energy cells. So while there were no quests for the energy acceptor and the energy cell, they were reasonably easy to craft. The higher energy cells, one of these calculation processors with energy cells, we actually make a dense energy cell. And the dense energy cell can contain 1,600,000 energy, as opposed to the normal energy cell, which can have 200,000 energy. So it's quite good having the dense one. Yeah, it's quite a good upgrade. But again, don't quite need that stage just yet. Not just yet. So to make all that process go even faster, there's one of these seed farmers make a crystal growth chamber. And it's now a new reward. A new thing in the pack. And it's an add-on for applied energistics. So it's AE2 add-ons. So we've got a pattern encoder, AE2 stuff, that's what it's called, the mod. Crystal growth chamber, advanced inscriber, wireless connector, and a wireless setup kit. And a network visualization tool. All very cool stuff that I've never played with before. This crystal growth chamber must obviously take out a lot of the stresses of getting the crystals to grow fast. It combines 6, and if you imagine the chest being in the middle where the seeds go, 6 sides of the chest, or 6 sides of that water source, would normally be the maximum you could get, but you'd have to break the crystals afterwards. So it looks like it's going to maximise growth of crystals. And, well, I'm going to need to break this other setup down, which by now has the pure fluix crystals created. Break this other setup down so that I can create this new block. I've got 4 in there already, so I need 2 more of these to get ready for the next bit. And then we get to see what this one can do. So, gonna craft it. Gonna get the reward for it. Seed farmer achieved. And what do we get as a reward? We get an Invar hammer. Oh, not an Invar hammer. Whoopee. Oh, man. Okay, well, let's just stick that on the wall for now. So, we've got this crystal growth chamber. Now, I'm guessing that this is also just a need some power. So we've put it on the power. Well, okay, wow. Different type of interface. I've powered it up anyway. It's got connection to the power. So, interface. I don't understand this interface. It just has no GUI stuff whatsoever. First time I've done it. And we need to make another couple of these seeds. And do I have any of the stuff pulverized? No, I don't. Let's put that in my pulverizer setup. Get some of that. Get some more seeds, and we'll test it out and see if I can figure out how it works. Okay, well, it's fairly simple. I just checked the wiki page, and it's fairly simple. Just makes a crystal grow. You put a seed into the chamber, and it makes it grow. Take it out, put it back in. Yeah, still growing. And apparently you can also put these in, and it'll make these as if it was in water. So it's basically just doing it without the water. Can I put a stack in, and they grow as a stack? Yes, they do. So it's nice and simple. Nice and simple. And you can pump items into it and take items out of it and all that. And I'm guessing these are some upgrade slots that we're yet to use. But yeah, it's a very, very simple little thing. And will save me lots of time making setups and running things around. I can just put this up here and access it. Excellent. Okay, so the inscriber. I suppose I should show you what the inscriber does, because I did it previously, but I didn't really show you. So each one of these presses that we created with the invar in the pool, in the other machine over there, will have an effect. So a logic press presses gold into these little circuits, diamonds from the engineering press into these little circuits, and silicon from this silicon press into little printed silicon dabs, right? And each of these things, including the crystals, each of these things has a purpose within the areas of applied energistics. We're going to need all of these different things in abundance, and the automation of these inscribers is quite fun, but at the same time, the startup, putting everything in by hand. You can't put a stack of anything in there. It can only go in one at a time. You can't have one thing in there making a stack here, because these don't stack inside the machine. So they're pretty much, you can't stack things in the inscriber, which makes it a very worthy block of automation in an automation mod. Yeah. And then throw those away again. And then you can put these components together. So you put the components together like so to make the calculation presses and the like. It's always this way up, the silicon on the bottom, the rare material on the top, and the redstone in the middle, right? So, and it's never stacks, which you'd think with an automation mod it would stack, wouldn't you? It gets a little bit of power from it, it does it, and then it does this, and gets you those. Now, I really like the animation of it. If you see, you've got the animation of the gold above, the silicon below, and the redstone in between, and it stomps it. I really like. That's one of my favourite things. I can just stand here doing this and watching that. When it's automated as well, and I order something from the system, and it just goes and starts making these and just keep processing them. Oh, that's a wonder of modern age, that is. I love it. So anyway, we've got all those. We've got a few more of these. Now, the ME drive, which was the next quest, requires some of these glass cables. I'm not sure if I've used glass cables before. Yeah, glass cables are some crystals with these quartz fibre. Quartz fibre is the quartz dust with glass. Pretty simple to make. And as you can see, I've already got a few. So we'll make one of those, and I think that's quest complete. The CD-ROM. The beginnings of it. And the reward for that is going to be 2 diamond tier Yabba barrels. Awesome. Now we're getting on to what I really want to do. Make a terminal, which we've got to do a controller and a 1K storage cell. We're going to do the 1K storage cell first, right? I'll plonk this down. Well, I'll plonk it down there. It's quite a cool looking block. It contains disks in the drive, and it used to have a little graphic on the back, I think. Never mind, doesn't anymore. Let's just throw that away. Old storage system. It's been very useful, this RF storage system, but my applied energistics is going to be blowing it out the water. And then we've got disks. So yeah, we put disks into the drive. So we start off by making this housing. It's going to need quartz glass, redstone, and iron ingots to make the housing. I need some more quartz glass first. Okay. Let's just quickly make some of that up. Let's make a few, because we always need quartz glass for everything. So I'll make a few of those and put them in. And then the casings. Now these casings, there's always going to be a few that we need here as well. And I believe that I can make the 1K with the storage housing and the component inside in the same way as I can make a 4K with the storage component and the housing inside. So the housing's the same every time, but you can make it in a crafting recipe like this to make the whole thing. It's just this component part in the middle here is what we're after. So to start with, we're going to make some of the first stage ones, which are these 1K ME storage components, which are those logic processors, which is the gold. And that should quite easily be able to make, if only I had more Certis quartz. I've got charged in there, but none of the regular. I think I've got some regular over here. Well, I hope I've got loads of regular over here, because I've been gathering it for ages. Yeah, let's take a stack of that. As you can also see, I've got a little tree farm set up below, but we'll cover that a bit later on. It's basically those bonsai trees just feeding into a setup that's giving me a nice amount of storage for it all. A very nice amount of storage for it all. Right, so we put that together, and then I should be able to put that with one of these drives to make a 1K storage drive, which completes the quest. And what do we get for completing that quest? Make it another 1K storage drive, please. No, some more emerald upgrades. Okay, and then the 4K and all that. There's also fluid storage, which we'll get onto, but we'll start with the all the way down to the 64K. We'll work on those ones. But before we get down those routes and start completing all those, I really want to actually have a setup going on. So we need to make a controller. And the ME controller. Oh, let me just put that in there, actually. So this has got the slots. We can put one, that's the housing, that's the actual drive. Put the drive in there, and then the drive is there like that. It will need some power, and to give it power, we're just going to need to connect it up with some cabling. So I can bring the cabling, well, let's bring it down this way for now, so it's underneath. And then that'll be hooked up and powered. It'll be part of the network. This little network here doesn't do anything right now, though, does it? It's not really doing anything. It's just got an active drive. It's just draining power from the system, and that's it. The ME controller is where we're at next. Now, we needed this skyblock stone, and then that gets crafted from the stone blocks into skyblock stones. And then that's this sky stone which comes out of the lava and cooked into the skyblock stones. That's how it works. We've got some of those made up. I made that earlier. And then there's pure fluix crystals, which is why we needed the growth chamber to get those started. And then the diamond engineering processors, which we've got there as well. So we have all of the components we need for that, and we do get another mission successful. I'm going to put this down here. It's a very nice looking thing. I'm going to put it down there because you don't need access to it. It just needs to be on. There's no clicking on it, there's no access to it. It just gives the whole setup a controller, which gives it a brain, basically. And the brain can just sit out of harm's way. It doesn't need to be on show. There's no access point for it. What do we get for that one now, then? Now then, what do we get for that? What reward? We're going to get a Silk Touch Chance Pendant. Great. There's a Firewall Security. We don't need to go into those yet. And the Auto Crafting, we don't need to go into those yet. So there's no terminals. So I'm going to have to make a terminal. Okay, so I always favour the ME crafting terminal. That way you can access your goods and craft things all in one place. It's a crafting table, it's an ME terminal, and a calculation processor. All fairly simple to make, you'd say. Right, so the crafting terminal requires a crafting table, the processor, and the terminal. Yep. The terminal requires a formation core, an annihilation core, and a bright illumination panel. The annihilation core is nether quartz, Certis quartz, and logic. We do need some fluix dust then in that case, which I don't think I've got any of in the system right now. Let's just interrupt whatever this is doing over here. Let's interrupt that for that and put that back in there. And get one piece, because that's all I need right now for this bit. Okay, and then we get one of those. So there's the annihilation cores. And then the formation cores, I need another one piece for that, which is useful to have all these things ready. One more of the formation core. Now these annihilation cores and formation cores, you get a lot of them in the recipes, a lot of them. Illumination panels. This is the quartz glass with glowstone, redstone, and iron. It's quite an intuitive recipe. I think it's perfect. Quartz glass again, you remember, we do that. So then we make the ME terminal with a logic processor and one of each of those components. Bright illumination panel. I believe I've got to change this around first. An illumination panel. And then put it into there and it becomes a bright illumination panel. I think that's how it works. And then from there I should be able to make one of these. Yeah, there we go. an ME terminal. Now, I'll make a second one if I can. No, I can't. An ME terminal. If I've got some cable, I can show you how an ME terminal works, and then we'll smash it, and we'll show you how it's properly done. So put this on here, put that on there, right? So now this is accessible, and it gives me everything in one great long list that's in here. Everything in here. We can change this to different terminal styles, which is great. We can also have it search JEI synchronized on auto keep. So if I search in here, let's say sand, it will automatically search here as well. And it will search in here, so that if I'm looking at, I don't know, sand, for instance, I'm trying to find sand, it will show me where it is in the AE system, and if I can't find it in the AE system, it will show me where to craft it, and so on. Right? So that's pretty epic that it's got that control. But we don't want that. We don't just want that, right? And also, I can bring it out to be flush on this side if I place it on the block outside edge. There we go. But we don't want that. We want it to be for the crafting terminal. So we'll make a crafting terminal and put the crafting terminal on there. Right? So now that goes in. And we can see that it's flush with the rest of the surround. So it fits inside the block, which is nice. And you can put a fascia, a cover, over the top of that, which will be good later on. That terminal has the same as the ME terminal. It has the JI synchronization. It has the different terminal styles, but it also has a crafting grid. So if I wanted to auto-craft something, I can put that into the crafting grid there. Yeah. It needs the items in the terminal, though. So I need to put things in the terminal. So let's see about putting some bricks in, for instance. Not that I'm going to use this very often as bricks, but there you go. And then the uses of bricks, we look for that, and we're going to make some bricks like that. And it will now show me all of these things and allow me to put bricks into the thing. Just as you would expect. I love it. So now when I search up brick, it comes up here. I can do that, and then I can craft them and put them straight into the AE system that way. And if you press the the cross button, it puts everything back into the storage network. Excellent. Love it. So, with all of the materials in the terminal, I just want one more thing to show you. Make one of these Certis quartz cutting knives. They can then make a few other bits and pieces. Let's at applied logistics over here. We want to make some of these covers, cable anchors. So any kind of ingot and the cutting knife can make you some of these cable anchors. The cable anchors can then be combined with blocks in order to make different covers. So, for instance, here's a stone cover facade. You take a stone block and you put some cable anchors around it. Now, annoyingly, there's 4 cable anchors around almost every block that you would expect to use, and the recipe for cable anchors makes 3. So you've got to do it a couple of times before you can do anything. Like 3, okay? And that's the only really annoying thing about it all. And now I think I'm going to use skystone for my facade for this section, and take 4. So you get 4 with each cable anchor. You get 1, yeah. And then you simply press it against wherever you want it to be, and it will attach to that cable and cover that cable up like so. So it becomes a multi-part block, as it were, which is pretty cool. You can also use that to divide things between areas. So you can divide things up and the cable will go up between them like that. So you can make it look like a cable's coming out of the wall, which is also pretty cool. And I don't think that has any effect on the power supply or anything like that. So you can do all these kind of things to make it look good and make it efficient, to make it look nice, and it just connects to the two like that. But anyway, that is all we've got time for today. So thank you all very much for watching another episode of Stoneblock 2. I've been your host, Nemsun. Thank you very much for leaving those likes and the comments. I'll get round to the comments about what to do with the factory wall from episode 4 very, very shortly. If you haven't already had a chance, go back and check that out. If you haven't had a chance to check out my Patreon page, please check the link now in the video. I will see you in the next episode very soon for some more Stoneblock 2.